When you think of the best NFL games of all time, you instantly think of close Super Bowl finishes and thrilling playoff games. The stakes may not be as high during regular season games, but that doesn't mean that we should forget about some of the all-time classics they've produced. I'm Justin Fraction, original TPS channel host, producer, first one for years, doing a guest spot. I hope you're all well, but let's dive into the 10 best regular season games in NFL history. Kansas City Chiefs at Los Angeles Rams, Week 11, 2018. Patrick Mahomes' stat line read 31 completions, 478 passing yards, 6 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions, while Jared Goff wasn't far behind with 31 completions, 413 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no picks. Yep, it was an all-time Hollywood-style thriller, folks. The stats alone tell you that it was an insane back-and-forth shootout. So let's just skip to the crazy fourth quarter. Down 40-30 early in the fourth, Mahomes found Tyreek Hill for a 73-yard score. On the next drive, Goff was strip-sacked and Allen Bailey scooped it up for a go-ahead touchdown for the Chiefs. Then Goff hit Gerald Everett in the end zone for the go-ahead score for the Rams with 9 minutes 38 seconds remaining. The two sides would exchange punts, but with under 3 minutes to go, Mahomes hits Chris Conley on a crossing route to put KC up once again. But not for long. It took just 58 seconds for the Rams to regain the lead, courtesy of a 40-yard bomb from Goff to Everett. In the waning seconds, Mahomes was picked off one last time by LaMarcus Joyner to seal it for LA. Final score, 54-51. 1,001 yards of offense and 105 combined points. It doesn't get much better than that. Denver Broncos at Dallas Cowboys 2013. You know, a game was crazy when a guy threw for 506 yards and 5 touchdowns and still lost. Well, that was Tony Romo's career for you, ladies and gentlemen. He went toe-to-toe with Peyton Manning for 58 minutes in this thrilling Week 6 late afternoon game at Jerry's World, but it wasn't good enough. Denver had erased a first-half deficit of 14 points. Dallas erased a second-half deficit of 15 points, and there were 5 scoring drives in the final quarter. The two defenses basically just took the night off. Manning completed 33 passes for 414 yards and 4 scores. Romo had the game of his life before throwing a costly interception to Danny Trevathan at the 2-minute warning. Denver melted the clock from there, and Matt Prater came out for the game-winning 28-yarder. The Broncos won this wacky thriller 51-48. Miami Dolphins at New York Jets, Week 3, 1986. Dan Marino completed 50 passes for 448 yards and 6 touchdowns, only to be outdueled by Ken O'Brien, who'd have thought. The Jets put up 28 points alone in the second quarter. Miami put up 17 alone in the third frame. On the final play of regulation, O'Brien found Wesley Walker for a 21-yarder that forced overtime. Needing just a field goal to win it, O'Brien decided to go for the style points instead, hitting Walker once again, this time for the 43-yard game-winning touchdowns. It was Walker's 4th score of the game, and it came in walk-off fashion. In the end, this barn burner produced 96 total points and 1,066 yards of offense. Kansas City Chiefs at New England Patriots, Week 6, 2018. The 5-0 Chiefs were led by the next young phenom in Patrick Mahomes. KC struggled in the red zone throughout the first half. A trio of Harrison Butker field goals gave him life, but the Chiefs found themselves trailing 24-9 at a half. It looked like Mahomes was on the verge of receiving a harsh lesson from the two GOATs, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. It took the Chiefs just 1 minute 33 seconds to open the scoring in the second half. However, as Mahomes found a wide-open Kareem Hunt for a 67-yard TD to bring his team within a score. The two sides swapped field goals. A Brady strip sack gave KC short field position, and Mahomes found Tyreek Hill in the end zone for a 14-yard score. Now it was a 1-point game. New England added a field goal early in the fourth to increase their lead to 4, but the chaos was just beginning to unfold. With 8 minutes 38 seconds left in the game, Mahomes found who else but Tyreek Hill for the go-ahead touchdown. But Brady and company needed just 3 minutes 13 seconds to regain the lead, with TB12 scoring on a 4-yard touchdown run. A subsequent field goal gave New England a 7-point lead with 3 minutes 15 seconds to go. And on the first play from scrimmage on the next drive, Mahomes loaded up and found Hill for his 3rd touchdown of the game, and Butker's extra point attempt tied things up. 3 minutes was too much time for Brady, however. He pieced together another signature drive and set up Steven Gostkowski's game-winning 28-yarder as time expired. Over 300 passing yards for both QBs, 83 total points scored, 946 yards of offense. Part 1 of Brady vs. Mahomes was downright legendary. And yet, they managed to outdo this game when they met in the AFC Championship game 3 months later, with the Patriots prevailing 37-31 in overtime at Arrowhead. New England Patriots at Indianapolis Colts, Week 10, 2009. Tom Brady and Peyton Manning met once again under the shiny lights of Sunday Night Football, and this meeting had more hype than most of the previous ones. The Patriots had cruised to a 6-2 start. The Colts, meanwhile, were 8-0 and looking to keep their perfect regular season alive. The Colts jumped out to a 7-0 lead, but New England silenced Lucas Oil Stadium with 24 unanswered points. Indy regained momentum before halftime when Peyton Manning found Reggie Wayne for a late 20-yard score. The third quarter yielded 0 points, but there were plenty of adventurous moments. Brady was picked off in the red zone, then Manning took over and threw an interception of his own on the ensuing drive. Just when New England went in for what should have been the dagger, running back Lawrence Maroney fumbled near the goal line. Indy recovered but failed to capitalize on the ensuing possession. New England got it back and Brady hit Moss for a 5-yard touchdown to seemingly ice the game. But it took the Colts just 2 minutes 4 seconds to get those 7 points back, making it a 10-point game. With 4 minutes 13 seconds to go, a Gostowski field goal put New England up by 13. Aided by a 31-yard defensive pass interface call on Darius Butler, Indianapolis needed less than 2 minutes to find the end zone as Joseph Adai capped off their scoring drive from 4-yard out. But it was about to get even crazier. Indianapolis seemingly forced the Patriots 3 and out on the ensuing drive. However, Bill Belichick didn't trust his defense and instead called for a pass play on 4th and 2 from their own 28-yard line. Brady's pass to Kevin Falk was completed, but the running back was tackled just short of the first down line because they were out of timeouts. The Patriots couldn't challenge, and because the play happened before the 2-minute warning, the officials couldn't conduct a booth review. So Manning got the ball back deep in New England territory and made Belichick pay for his decision. They bled the clock and ended the drive when Peyton found Reggie Wayne for a 1-yard score. Matt Stover's extra point would win the game for the Colts. Belichick may be the GOAT of coaches, but he simply outsmarted himself on this night. Kansas City Chiefs at Denver Broncos, Week 7, 94. The 94 campaign was one of the worst for Denver in the John Elway era. They limped to a 7-9 finish and got to see the rival San Diego Chargers reach the Super Bowl, and the arch-rival Chiefs claim a wild-card spot. 94 was a forgettable year in Denver, but Elway's showdown with Joe Montana and the Chiefs during Week 7 on Monday Night Football certainly wasn't. It turned out to be the final Elway-Montana showdown, and by far the very best as far as entertainment value goes. After a scoreless first, the Broncos opened the scoring with Leonard Russell's 12-yard rushing touchdown. Marcus Allen's 7-yard rushing score evened the game. Elway and Montana then exchanged TD passes to send the game into halftime at 14 apiece. Montana's 4-yard touchdown pass to Joe Valerio gave KC its first lead of the game, but Denver responded with Elway's 20-yard touchdown strike to Jerry Evans. Lynn Elliott's 19-yard field goal put KC up by 3 in the fourth. With a minute and a half to go, Elway took the snap and ran the ball into the end zone to help Denver regain the lead. But Joe Cool would not be denied with the game in his hands. In what would be his final NFL season, Montana delivered another signature late-game comeback. He pieced together a surgical drive, finding Willie Davis for the game-winning score with only 8 seconds remaining. Game, set, and match. KC wins 31-28. Montana had broken the hearts of Elway and the Broncos in Super Bowl 24, and he just had to do it one last time before retiring. New York Jets at Oakland Raiders, Week 11, 1968. Okay, this was technically an AFL game between the Jets and the Raiders, but we had to include it anyway because it was a true classic. This game is usually referred to as the Heidi game because on the East Coast, NBC switched over to the broadcast of the new film Heidi late in the fourth quarter. That meant the Jets fans watching in New York wouldn't be able to see this epic conclusion. The Jets kicked 2 field goals to build a 6-0 lead, but a pair of Daryl LaMonica touchdown strikes put Oakland up 14-6. 2 more Jets touchdowns would put them back up 19-14 in the third quarter. The Raiders kept clawing their way back, though eventually tying it 29 apiece on a Fred Biletnikoff touchdown. Jim Turner's 26-yard kick gave New York a 3-point lead with just over a minute to go. However, LaMonica pieced together a quick and efficient drive, hitting Charlie Smith for the go-ahead 43-yard score. Now the Raiders were up 4 points while Jets fans were watching Heidi. On the ensuing kickoff, Jets return man Earl Christie fumbled the football. Preston Riddlehuber of the Raiders returned it for the score, clinching the Heidi game for the Raiders. Final score 43-22. All turned out fine for the Jets and their fans, though. They would beat the Raiders in the AFL Championship game before stunning the Baltimore Colts in Super Bowl III. Los Angeles Chargers at Las Vegas Raiders, Week 18, 2021. The situation for both teams was simple. Win and you're in the postseason, lose and you're out. Tie and you're both in the postseason. The Raiders put up 10 points in the first quarter, but a pair of Austin Eckler touchdowns in the second quarter put the Chargers ahead by 4. A controversial 41-yard defensive pass interference call on Chris Harris Jr. set up Josh Jacobs' go-ahead touchdown before halftime. 2 Daniel Carlson field goals and a Derek Carr to Hunter Renfrow touchdown eventually helped the Raiders build a 15-point lead midway through the final frame. Then Justin Herbert showed up. On a 4th and 21 play with 4.5 minutes to go, Herbert found rookie Josh Palmer in the end zone to keep his season alive. A successful 2-point conversion made it a 7-point game. After the Chargers forced a punt, Herbert drove the Bolts downfield, hitting Mike Williams in the end zone as the clock hit 0 and the ensuing extra point forced overtime. Both teams scored a field goal on their first possessions of OT. The Raiders could have taken several kneel downs to send both teams into the playoffs, but they opted to stay aggressive. And Daniel Carlson made his 47-yard game-winning kick as time expired in the extra frame. And with that, the Chargers were going home while the Raiders and Steelers booked their tickets to the postseason. Oakland Raiders at San Diego Chargers Week 2, 1978. The two rivals met for what turned out to be one of the most epic, albeit controversial endings in NFL history. The Chargers led 13-7 at halftime and added some insurance in the fourth on Hank Bauer's 2-yard rushing score. But Ken Stabler's 44-yard touchdown to Morris Bradshaw suddenly gave the Raiders new life. The Raiders' defense held the fort and gave Stabler one last chance to win the game. Oakland advanced to the Chargers' 14-yard line, entered the infamous Holy Roller play. The crazy fumble sequence ended with the Raiders' Dave Casper recovering the ball in the end zone for a TD. The ensuing extra point gave Oakland a 21-20 win. The play was controversial because Stabler's fumble appeared to have actually been a pass. Furthermore, the Raiders got away with some blatant fumbling the ball forward, which should have been ruled a penalty. Still, it was a thrilling finish between the two longtime rivals and an unforgettable one at that. Washington at Dallas Cowboys Week 16, 1979. Last game of the regular season, winner takes home the NFC East crown. Washington's soon-to-be dynasty against a Dallas team looking to win a third Super Bowl in the Roger Staubach, Tom Landry era. What more could you ask for? Washington jumped out to a 17-0 lead in the second quarter, but Staubach, aka Captain Comeback, led Dallas to 21 straight points to get the lead in the third quarter. And then came the fourth quarter. A Mark Mosley field goal and 2 John Riggins touchdowns put Washington up by 13 in the fourth quarter. Now in clock-melting mode, the visitors coughed up the football on a fumble, and the Cowboys recovered. A few plays later, Staubach hit Ron Springs in the end zone for 6. Washington got the ball back and needed just 1 yard to ice the game, but Dallas's defense stuffed Riggins on 3rd and 1. Washington punted away to Staubach, who had 1 minute 46 seconds to play hero. Captain Comeback struck again and hit Tony Hill for an 8-yard score to put Dallas ahead. The defense would hold the fort and help the boys escape with a thrilling 35-34 victory to lock up the division. Which do you think is the best NFL regular season game of all time? Join us in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps us out a ton and we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.